This conference, the theme is white places and break holes. It distributes to the global contemporary art with the uneven receptions. But here, I want to make a metaphor for Chinese contemporary water and ink painting. Not because Chinese traditional painting is white and break. And I think it's more important, I want to stimulate a dialogue between white places and break holes based on the challenge of renewal of traditional Chinese medium, content, and form. So that's the dialogue. Yes, I tried to. You know, yes, in China, the Chinese traditional painting have a long and history. That's our glossary. And everyone think, yes, that's the honored treasures, and that's our independent language from European painting language. But the strength of the theoretical underpinnings for a long time, I should say, from middle of the 19th century, so gradually declined. Not because of the Western oil painting glows, more because actually the strength of our theories had nothing fresh to offer when the time turned to the new pages. So, actually, we faced in the contemporary society what contemporary art should paint, with what tool, what medium, what method. If we give up a traditional brush, ink, paper, is it still called water and ink painting? That's the challenge questions. Also, here, both artist and audience knowledge seems developing into white places. Actually, we didn't know where to go, basically. So I try to say the way of the tradition and the pressure of the changes both create white places for our development. But at the same time, the break holes gradually open up. The challenger forces us to come close to the break holes, to see not only actually traditional values for now, but more what's the new inspirations and criteria for Chinese contemporary appreciation. So here, today I want to talk about two issues. One is, what is the co-heritage of traditional for now? That's actually we should dig up from the black holes. Then that's my first question. You know, that's the Chinese language. Our language is different from the, most of the European language. We actually made of the lines. So the first question I want to answer that. I contribute 3 points here. The first point is the line, because we just saw the picture of the Chinese characters. So here, the first you will see that's about 5,000 years. The Chinese is, hairbrush strokes on the ceramic wells. The second is the first, actually, yes, the painting on the silk. Still, you will see the lines. Another, yes, the calligraphy piece. The next is the, we call the, a Thai painting. It's like the mural painting. All these, the Chinese, that's all thousands of the years. So that's a line, made of the line. The feature is quite outstanding. That's the first, yes, I talk about a line. I made something more. Our line not just want to achieve ideal form. More important, we try to actually set up the relationship. This is the, or say association between C and C. Likeness, unlikeness. What is and what is not. That's for line. Yes, about that. That's something, no matter what medium in contemporary art, the line still is our identity. A free line, always say freehand line. So the second is the ink tone. Ink tone not just support line, actually also create, yes, the volume and the space. But more important, the ink tone is substitute our color. Our color is not, like Western countries, different color. We just actually, yes, ink is our color. Our master said, if we have the ink, we have 5 colors. If more than 5 colors, people's eyes will brand. So that's what's very special from the Western country. So still, you will see that that's the classical paintings, or depend on the different grade of the, ink tone. That's the second. The third is we call the solis and voris. That you see, also different from the Western country, because every painting has a lot of the emptiness. So non-presence, or the open of the visual, the imaginations, that's we usually Western painting are quite full. So we have, yes, lots of the empty space. This space actually also, according to Chinese theory, we should say, yes, the more the space, yes, we said, alive of the painting. If the artist can leave lots of the white, we said, emptiness, that the whole painting, yes, will, more charming, or we say that, yes, alive. So these are 3 issues. Actually, I want to dig from the black holes. I think no matter we still use the hairbrush, we still use the rice paper or ink. These are the 3 issues. No matter for Western, even for Chinese, we appreciate painting, we can seek these points. Of course, the other Chinese can dig up something more from the, the black holes. That's my first, 3 points. The next 3 points, I try to say, what's the, the elements of the traditional heritage of contemporary significance. So I will make more examples from the contemporary artist performance. Sorry. The first, actually, the contemporary significance, I still try to say abstract qualities, because the Chinese contemporary paintings, not just contemporary paintings, even traditional paintings have the generation and, abstract the qualities. This quality, I just make an example, let people to know more. This is a light and sound installation. So actually composed of 2,500 light tube. So the light tube is lit one after another. It lasts 7 hours. This picture is the whole in 7 hours, all four. Yes. So this is actually the stroke, the line is based on our old masters. But here, actually, artists try to present very contemporary landscape. Another is try to present the charming of the contemporary line. That's the first examples. So the second example, you can see, so the artist, this artist here, the mountains, not use the, here to paint. They actually tilling the papers. All here, the paper here. He just till the papers, then layer by layer, he, put that totally different from. So if you try to say what's the meaning, this artist, he tilling the paper for 30 years. We call the fission series. He has some colorful, all white and black. Also, he want to present, cracks. What is cracks? He said, he want, like the meaning, symbolic meaning of social cracks, culture cracks, even personal life cracks. So all these issues, not just try to, to present the mountain. He want to present the cracks. So, but abstract, still the mountain is like this. Anyway, that's my first point. Contemporary, the Chinese painting, even without, the brush, but still can present, the abstract quality. Second, the second element of the contemporary significance, I think, is the poetic version. In Chinese traditional painting, if here some people know, our traditional painting in one corner, that's the poem. So this poem is plus the chop, and the whole landscape, or maybe had a bird and a flower, or the figure, that's the whole, try to present a poem. Sometimes we say we have the idiom. The idiom said, so a picture in a poem and a poem in a picture. That's the, the Chinese say the spiritual issues of the Chinese traditional painting. But contemporarily, we still, can play this significance. First example is this artist used the 54, the silk balls. He still painted, on the silk, but he make the balls. And 64, he used the project and in, blue, and just to see echo each other. It's about, not on the wall, not in the frame, but the poetic version, trying to interact with the audience. Like people think, that's the space. The space, the planet, is how to work with the people. So that's the one example. The second example is also the contemporary artists. His painting, there are 2 layers. The first layer is very traditional water and ink. Water and ink is the landscape. The second is the second layers, and I use the tracing paper. This tracing paper, he used the insect stick to burn. So all these words, he has burned the words. He burned, the trees and the mountains. So when we see the picture, there are two. Of course, these two have a gap. So when you look, you will see, oh, what we should look? We should look, how to say, the host or the background. Actually, here the characters, not the poem, that he said, actually no meaning. Just let the people to think, look like, classical poem. Actually, totally no meaning, just the characters. What he wants to create, that's the poetic version for people to think is about. That's the second. The point. The third, I called, prosperity, that's actually also different from classical time. Classical time, because the Chinese has a very long history. Each, we said, dynasty, also different. So we call the prosperity, actually usually, based on the hairbrush. Somehow, very long length of the brush. Some is the barren, the brush. Also, the changes of the brush. Now, actually, we see one of the artists. Actually, this in the middle, this the pillow can rotating like this. So also use the the project. The other columns, that's 4 seasons. Just use the ink to present the 4 seasons. Besides that, also we have the solar system. The solar system have 12. The whole space is the ink space. That's actually presented by the Taiwanese artist and present our National Museum and this year. The next, so also from the very young artist, so he just used the PC keyboard. When you close the painting, you only see 42,000 keyboards. You only see the keyboards. When in distance, you will see, behind the keyboards, that's old masters actually landscape. We say the mountains. So, this is, I just present you what's the performance of contemporary artists, what they have done for contemporary ink. Actually, all the contribution from the contemporary artist was to set up the relation between the tradition and contemporary. So that is actually, we try to explain how the tradition legacy to be, make more meaning to the contemporary. That's something all the artists try to challenge the contemporary medium to praise, to express, like that. So that's we said, the innovation, mostly artists, what they done, that's the innovation use of the tools, methods. That's something they have already done. Also, sure, some the relationship is about that. But one question actually for us, we need, more importantly, to communicate their new visual experience of our social vision and a new aesthetic reaction. Our old master, also old artists, not simply use mountain or water, bird and flower. Actually, they want to express their emotional identity with social issues, and they are thinking of what the word is. The problem for us, now we use what to express our identity for our society. For about 100 years, or more than 100 years, white places have been barren. There is no soil in which contemporary, how to say, the theory and appreciation can develop. Sometimes people ask me, what is the art theory in China? I have no answer. They ask me, still confusion? That's a long, long way ago. So that's actually, I think, the dialogue between white places and the black holes challenge our artists, also challenge our theorists. So turn to the new page in develop our contemporary, the ink theory, or always say art theories. So because this is my year-long project, I just use some of the points to share with others and try to let everyone here can know the performance from our contemporary artists, what they have already done for the contemporary ink. So lots of things to say because I just try to sum up the points here. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Ling for your presentation. I would like to ask, are there any questions? All right. You were first. Tsai?
Me first,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Tsai, you were first.
Yeah, I 100% agree Mr. Ling, Professor Ling's report because it's a traditional China ink painting. But I have 3 questions. If you, we can explain clearly, is to help Western people to know about the Chinese. Okay. First is, do you think the contemporary expressionism of sign is Chinese ink painting? And the second question is, do you think the logo, please show me the logo this time, AICA logo, the more, the ink graphic, please. Do you think the design is Chinese ink painting? Question 3, what is the new element of Chinese ink painting? If it is so different from traditional interpretation, can you show us something new in the contemporary world of art?
Because here, many questions. The first, I should say, if I understand your question well, so for the Chinese contemporary art, quite diverse. And how to say, some yes, installation, some video, digital, or actually the same as the European or the whole global contemporary art. And for the ink, just the one of them, because ink is in our country, actually not just in China, in Asia has a long history. Still, that's the very important, how to say, the part of Chinese contemporary art. So, of course, not just the ink. How to say, this word is quite diverse. That's the, how to say, I answer your first question. The second question, if I understand your question well, you try to see what's the new. Actually, also, what's the new? Because, how to say, depend on one is the medium. So, different advanced medium, or can, how to say, play with the ink. Just depend on creativity of the artists. I'm not an artist, but I can say it's quite diverse. They can create what they can. So just try to see. They have to link with the history. They have a link, actually, the inspiration, what people to think. That's the bridge, yes. So have to have lots of thinking historically. That's more important. The medium is, how to say, depend each of the artists, what they use. So actually, if you want to know what's the contemporary performance, I can say, each artist try to be quite different. Too many examples can show some artists, they, still use the brush, rice paper. Some partly use the, the brush and use some other, things. Someone totally didn't. So for paper, someone still use the rice paper. Someone use the rice paper as the symbolic meaning. Some, so too many examples, they can. That's my answer. Hope to answer your question.
Hi, yeah, I'm Christopher French from AICA USA. I was wondering if there was still the kind of association with certain political inclinations or rebelliousness with certain styles of ink painting, as was described in books like Brushes with Power by Richard Krauss, which I have read. I was just wondering if that still pertained to the way you make the shapes, as, for example, in the memoir that was up there, whether that had a connotation being more sinuous, say, if that would be seen as what he described was the persecution of certain ink artists during Mao's time. And I was just wondering if that was still seen as a way of making a political gesture, the kind of style that you use for your ink painting, or working with that sort of ideology with ink.
For Chinese ink painting, basically there are three catalogs in the classical time. One is the landscape, another is the bird and the flower, the third is the figures. Even usually the figures will quite small, only the emperor will be very big. So usually these three catalogs, categories. But now contemporary can display everything. So, but people, because for thousands of years, actually our paintings only give people's impression, a landscape or bird and flower or figure. But now, contemporary artists can do everything, they, reflect our society, no matter what. So they have a different theory or something, different actually performance to see, what they are contemporary, presentation of their life, about. But actually back to your said, so actually the examples I show you, just the few examples, and use the different or the new medium to, present the ink. But I should say, in our country, still, half of the people still use traditional brush and paper, they still do. But they have some improvement. Maybe content is different, form is different, but they still use the, the brush and ink and the paper. So quite diverse, about that.
Okay,
Hi.
Last question.
Yeah, hi. I just wonder if you could say something about the difference between this paper you just gave in English and the way it would be in Chinese. And the reason I ask is because, as you know, there's debate in China about whether or not art theory should use indigenous Chinese concepts or Western ones. And you know, for example, Gao Minglu was criticized for using Western-style art history. So when you say poetic feeling, I can imagine this comes from Chinese. But when you say plasticity, does that also, are you translating for us traditional Chinese terms, or are you trying to find English terms?
I mainly is from the Chinese term, not from the Western term.
Are you using traditional Chinese terms from traditional criticism, or are you using them in a new way?
I try to use the traditional, the traditional history and the traditional, the theories to explain. Because Western, the art theories didn't work for Chinese too much. So basically, because here is very short, basically my analysis all from the history or the art, the traditional theories to explain, to see, so.
Can I just quickly recommend that next time you should use the Chinese in the talk, because that happens, of course, in China. Use the Chinese term and then say plasticity, because these terms have Western histories that are not relevant to what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I think here, yes, because everyone here, yes, except these Taiwanese, yes, representative, all people, yes, if I just say, how to say the Chinese theorist name doesn't work, because like, yes, what's the theorist, or the, what's the, how to say, this theory means what for the name, yes, very hard, yes, just to say, yes, the point, yes, it's better. If I, yes, present in Chinese, definitely I will say, yes, okay, this is the history, or this is the theorist, yes, from which dynasty, and which, yes, the theorist artist, theorist names is about. Because if you want to talk about contemporary, definitely will link with the classical theory or classical history as well. Then we will see the evolution of that.
I just had an observation. I loved your talk. I just thought you did an excellent presentation of a Chinese orientation for a Western audience. And I love the visuals. I think, you know, it seemed like you were talking so much about presence and absence. And the visuals you have is, once it clear if the white is the presence or the absence. And then you back that up when you're talking about the more space on the white paper, that's the energy. So I thought it was beautiful.
This is just one of the, how to say, the feature of the traditional Chinese. Yes, I just think it's quite different from the Western, the, how to say, the way to, how to say, on painting as well.
But it was you made it a metaphor, though, for and then how they can transmit that to contemporary media I thought it was incredible. Thank you.
Okay, please thank the very last question. Because I'm sorry, because I'm happy that such great discussion emerged. So.
In my opinion, I think there is some link between abstract expressionism and the stroke of Chinese calligraphy. And abstraction is a kind of empty for me. And how do you compare Chinese ink art to Western painting?
That's a very big question. Because it's totally different, yes, of the identity. The Chinese actually, why I hear say abstraction, because initially Chinese painting is abstract. I said before, yes, so they are actually the main quality is just between likeness and, how to say, yes, unlikeness. What is an basically, yes, then one is actually the Westerner tell me what's the difference. I tell you. Also the artist, he said mainly difference, yes, the Chinese is the rice paper absorbed. So yes, the Western paper, you all on the surface. That's the, basically for material is the, how to say, the big differences. The others, because our, how to say, the brush or should be lots of water or something, not oil. That's also, yes, too many differences, actually.